Hi guys, and welcome to another Elementor video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, we've been putting together this little e-commerce store using the free version of the Elementor plugin, which is fantastic. We're using Elementor free and the free 2020 theme that comes bundled at the moment with WordPress. So we put together a nice little home page here. Now we've got a shop page. And of course various product pages for the different sort of categories of computer that we got. Got a contact page with a nice form and a full width live Google map there. And of course, as required nowadays, we've got a privacy policy page that we've customized. So just follow along with this series of videos that we've got going here and learn how to build an e-commerce store using the absolutely free Elementor plugin and the free theme 2020. So let's get started. As you can see, I've got a fresh install of WordPress here, and like I say, it's the current version at the moment, which is the 2020 theme. If we look at here, yeah, I've got the 2020 theme activated and installed. That's the default theme at the moment. I've got 19 in there as well, just for a backup in case something happens to 2020. It's a good idea to have a little backup theme in there. But if you've got a bunch here, it's a good idea to delete them, because the less you have, it's less effort for your server to crawl through your database files to find all these things. Okay, so the first thing we want to do, seeing as we want to sell products on this site, is download the fantastic WooCommerce plugin. So let's go to plugins. Let's go to add new. And I'm going to type in WooCommerce, WOOCOMERCE, in the search box right there. And it brings it up straight away. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the install button. Once installed, I'm going to go ahead and activate. I'm going to use the regular setup with it. I'm not going to use their new one, purely because I'm used to this one. And we're in the United States here. You need to put in an address, 123. City, my town. Because it will calculate things due to your address. We'll say we're in Alabama. United States dollars is fine. I'm going to plan to sell both physical and digital products. With this build, we're going to be selling computers, laptops, desktops, etc. And perhaps we'll sell some software on an ebook or something like that. I'm not going to be selling products or services in person. So let's hit the Let's Go button. It's a good idea to check this little box if my site's not online. I'm building mine on my local machine here, so there's no point in me doing this, but it's a good idea if you're building a WooCommerce site and going to be using it to check this box, because it can improve the WooCommerce experience. It'll give them a chance to do things and come up with new things, depending on the data that they get from you. So I'm going to leave that unchecked and say continue, because mine won't do them any good. Now we're on the payment. Stripe's the default. Stripe is great, but I don't want to use Stripe. I'm going to use PayPal. And that's fine. And there's all kind of different payment options for different payment gateways and e-wallets. You can get plugins to do just about any payment gateway that you care to choose. So I'm happy with PayPal, so I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. Now shipping, this is great. You can create separate zones. You can charge different prices. You can hook up with third party like UPS and USPS and get them to do live tracking if you want to do that. For me, in my site, I'm going to keep it really simple. I'm going to do flat rate shipping. I'm just going to ship to the United States. I'm going to say $20 flat rate shipping. And I don't want to sell to anybody outside the United States. So I'm going to click that little button to off there. Ounces is great, and inches, I mean, seeing as we got flat rate shipping enabled, it really doesn't matter. But as we're in the US, we use ounces and inches. You can change that to kilograms and millimeters or centimeters if you're elsewhere that uses the decimal system. Okay, well, these are third-party things. I'm not going to use a storefront theme. As I said, we're going to use the default 2020 theme that comes with WordPress. I am going to automate taxes. It's not a bad idea because it'll calculate the tax on checkout. And unfortunately, you do have to pay tax. And if you don't calculate it and charge your customers for it, it's going to come out of your pocket. MailChimp, I'm not going to integrate that at the moment. I may do a module on that later on. It's a great thing to do. Same with Facebook. So let's hit continue. I'm not going to activate Jetpack. If you want to, it's fine. It does have some great features. But I'm just going to go down to the bottom and skip this step for the moment. And we're about ready. If you want to sign up for the WordPress newsletter, just put your email in there. I'm already signed up, and they do actually send some really interesting stuff through. So do that if you like to get info about that sort of thing. We're all about set up. In the next video, we will create some products, but I'm not going to do it right now. We'll leave that till next time. So let's go ahead and visit the dashboard. And now we've got the WooCommerce set up. You can see it right here. And we'll go through and take a look at some of those settings. But also what I'll show you is now we've created the WooCommerce. Let's have a look at the pages. And you can see that WooCommerce has already created automatically a cart, a checkout, a my account, and a shop page for us. And we'll be dealing with those as we add more products. So let's have a quick look at the WooCommerce settings. And under general settings, you've got your address and everything that we filled out earlier on. We can enable coupons, so you can make coupons for people and give them discounts. Currency is absolutely fine there. If we move on to products, at the moment it's taking us to the default shop page for the shop. I may change that later and just do a custom one for our regular one. Add to the cart behavior. Once they've added something to the cart, you can have it redirect straight to the cart. But I'm going to leave that because if you do that, it might take them away from looking at other products and shopping. Placeholder image is if you have an image, or a product rather, that doesn't have an image, you can put an image URL, upload one to your media library and get the URL that way, and have a generic image. I'll show you how to do that in future videos. Weights we know about, measurements. You can enable reviews if you want to, or disable them here if you don't want people to review and comment on your products. Same with star ratings. Now moving on to the tax tab. Do you want prices entered with tax? No, because in the US we don't do that. In the UK or somewhere yet, you would enter it including the tax as well. And let's calculate the tax based on the shop base address. And you've got some options here for shipping tax classes. Standard, reduced rate, shipping tax based on cart items. You can round it at the bottom, so instead of if they've got 4 products under each one, it's going to calculate the tax under each one. If you round it, it'll just give them a tax value at the bottom. And again, display prices in the shop, US will exclude tax. If, like I say, if I was in Europe or UK, I'd include tax. Same with that and everything else. So I just need to save those changes that I've made. Let's move on to the next one, which will be shipping. And again, we've created our zone, we've charged our price for it, so there's nothing else I need to do for that at this moment. Payments. Well, we've got PayPal checkout enabled, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the manage button later on, and we'll test out a purchase once we've got some products with what they call PayPal Sandbox. But I don't need to do that now because I've got nothing to sell. Accounts and privacy. Have a look through these and just check any ones that work for you. You can decide how things work, allow customers to place orders without an account. Depends on your model, it really does. So just take a look through this. They include a sort of generic privacy policy here. I think what I might decide to do is do our own privacy policy page. Moving over to the emails tab. These are set as they should be by default, but if you want to change any of them, just hit the manage button. For instance, if somebody has a new order, it's going to send it to my email address or the admin email address of your site. If you need to change that, hit the manage. Failed order, etc. Orders on hold processing completed, they're all going to go to your customer's email. When they order something, they have to put in their address and email, and all these will get sent to whatever email your customer puts in there. And for me, these standard settings seem to work perfectly. Like I say, have a look through them and make sure it's going to work for you too. And sender options, you can put from Elecom store or whatever your store's called, or however you want to alert the people so they know it's coming from, and your email address, where email address it's coming from. When it gets sent, it's going to actually send it, and it's going to include the default WooCommerce colors. If you want to change that, just go ahead and change it here. Put in the hex code or slide the color up to whatever it is you want here. And another nice thing is, in the header image, we don't have one at the moment, but we could put our logo. When we've got a logo, we'll come back here and put our header image in there. So when we send an email out, it's got the site logo on it. Okay, I don't know if I made any changes there, but we'll find out when I hit the integration button. Nope, we're fine. Now this is just for geotagging and stuff like that. For me, I don't need any of this. It's useless information for me. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the advanced tab. And here you can decide what pages they go to when the cart's clicked, when the checkout's clicked, when their account pages, if you want to make custom pages of your own, or if you want to use their generic ones that they create. For our site, we'll probably use theirs. Checkout endpoints, they're sort of appended to the page URLs to handle specific actions during the checkout process. And like I say, these are the normal ones here. You can add more or you can change them depending on your situation. For me, those normal ones work absolutely perfectly. Each of them has got a little question by it. If you want to learn a little bit more, just hover over that little question mark. It'll tell you a little bit more about it. Okay, well, I think we're pretty much sorted. We're ready to go. So in the next video, what we'll do, might brand the site first, give it a logo and a favicon up here, and then start creating some products. Well, we're going to continue on with our Elementor e-commerce store build here. In the last video, we installed the WooCommerce plugin and configured it, went through it. In this one, let's brand our site. Let's add a logo to our nav bar up here, and we'll add a favicon to our site too. The favicon is this little sticker that you see on the tabs of a web browser. Really easy to do, so let's get it done. So you can either go to your dashboard and go down to Appearance, Themes, Customize, or you can just hit the Customize that's at the top of the page up here. All right, and here we are. And we want to go down to site identity. Here's the site title and a tagline we put in. Now it says logo here. Let's select a logo. And you need to drag a logo to your media library. The one I've just created a couple of logos in Photoshop. I know not everybody has Photoshop. There's a great alternative. I think it's called GIMP. I've not tried it, but a lot of people tell me you can do the same with it as you can with Photoshop, and I'll put that link below this video in case anybody wants to use that. But I've got a logo here. The logo, it's 300 by 100. Doesn't matter. You just want to keep it fairly small. And I've got the favicon, this little sticker that goes up here. And because it can be a retina, you can make this 512 by 512. In fact, they require you that it can be no smaller than 512. So I'm going to drag my logo up to the media library here. There we have it. And all images, if you'll notice up here, they have a little alt text box. Now really that should be a description of your whatever the image is, but a lot of people do use it for putting keywords in. I don't know how effective that is, but a lot of people still do it. I think it works pretty good for local SEO and what have you, so that's something to bear in mind. So we'll select this. I'm just going to stretch this out so we get the whole of the logo. I'm not sure if that makes a difference or not, because I'm going to go ahead and say skip cropping. And there it is. Our logo has just appeared at the top there, and you can see it up here. That's fantastic. But I don't want the tagline there because it kind of looks a bit stupid to me anyway. So simple fix, just select it and delete it. There we go. That's a little more like it. All right, and if we go down a little bit, you've got your site icon, which is what I was talking about, the favicon, the site icon up here. And it says 512 by 512. Well, that's what I've done, so drag that in there. And there we have it. It's up in our little browser tab there. Really easy to do, and that's pretty much our site branded. So that was a short and sweet video. I hope you found that useful. First, I better publish this, I suppose, or it won't remain there. So great, in the next video, we'll start creating some products for our WooCommerce and start putting our site together. Well, we're going to continue on with our little store build. We haven't actually installed Elementor yet. I guess we could do that first thing, and then we'll go ahead and build a product. So let's go to our dashboard and go to plugins. Once there, let's hit the add new button and simply type in Elementor. And it'll pop up in the search pane right here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the install now button. For those of you that don't know, Elementor is a fantastic page builder that allows you to turn your WordPress site into something pretty special. It comes in two flavors, a free version and a pro version. I'm going to try and make this whole site using the free version, but if you want to check out the pro version, do. It's got some great extra features, and you can do so from my affiliate link below this video. Okay, once installed, let's go and activate it. And there we are. There's a great little video about it right here if you want to check that out. And you can see in the dashboard right here, you've got all your settings for Elementor. So we've got that all ready for when we need to use it. We'll get a few products created first and then start using our Elementor. So let's go and create our first products. Let's go to products. And you might notice that we've got this PayPal checkout with new smart payments buttons. That's a feature of WooCommerce that's going to disappear shortly. So you want to go ahead and disable that. So I'm going to middle mouse button WooCommerce right here and open it up in a new tab. I'm going to go to settings. We're going to go to our payments tab. and hit the manage on the PayPal checkout right here. And if we scroll down the page, you're going to see part smart payment buttons. Go ahead and uncheck that and save the changes. Okay, let's go back to our product page and create a product. I'm going to call this HP Office laptop. This is going to be a simple product. In the description, we'll put the full description in here, and we'll take sort of part of this and use it for the short description down below. Okay, we want to keep this as a simple product. It's not a virtual product. A virtual product would be a service or something that you provide for somebody, and it's not a downloadable product like software or audio files, MP3s, etc. So we want to set our regular price. So let's make it $4.99. And we can put it on sale by just putting a sale price. Obviously it's going to be lower than the regular price below it right there. Tax status, it's taxable. Tax class is standard, that's fine, unless you've got different tax classes for whatever you've got set up for your store. Now if we move on down to inventory, you can check this to manage stock, and you can put in the amount that you have. We'll say we've got 50. Allow back orders, I'm going to leave that on do not allow. Basically that means if the stock runs out, people can't order it. Whereas if you allow back orders, when it gets down to 0, they can still order it, but they're not going to get it until you resupply. Low stock threshold, this will send an email to your selected email address when the stock gets down to 2 left. Now if you only want to sell one of these products to each shopper, just check the little box there. I'm happy to sell as many as I can to as many people as I can. So that's inventory taken care of. Shipping, don't really need to fill this out because I've got flat rate on everything. If you watch my setup, I've got $20 flat rate. You can put in the weight, dimensions here, and a shipping class if you've created a shipping class for it. And there's plenty of third-party plugins that if you've got the weight, etc., you can send with UPS or USPS and calculate the live shipping rates. But as I say, I've got mine as standard $20 shipping throughout the United States, so I really don't have to put anything in there. Linked products, well, we haven't got any other products to link to it at the moment, so no point me doing this. We can do cross sales and upsells, but when I've got more products, we'll come back to this and show you how that works. Attributes. Well, this is a simple product, so I'm not going to add attributes to this at the moment. But what I will do is when we do a variable product, we'll use attributes to calculate our variations. But for a simple product, this is not necessary at the moment. You can add purchase notes and menu order stuff right here if you need to put notes for yourselves about these things. And if you hit the get more options, there's all kind of additional plugins you can add to give you more options. Okay, so we've got all our price and our shipping, everything. We've got our description taken care of. Next thing we want to do is actually add a product image. So I'm going to drag over a product image and just drag the image in here and drop it. And there we go. Now again, we've got alt text with an image. You can put in a description of the image here. Like I say, a lot of people use this for keywords. They'll put in their location and stuff like that to help with SEO. That's entirely up to you. And set the product image. Okay, well, let's go ahead and publish this. I believe we're good to go. And let's have a look at our product now that we've published it. And here it is. Here's our first product. We've got a title, we've got our description. So we're good. We can hit the add to cart button. Once it's been added to the cart, just hit the view cart like any other site. And you'll see it in your cart right here. You can apply a coupon if you've created one. And if you're ready, you can go ahead and proceed to checkout. We won't do that just yet. I'm going to enable what they call PayPal Sandbox so we can run through a purchase just to make sure everything's working. We'll do that when we've got a few more products. So there we have it. There's our first simple product created. In the next video, we'll go ahead and create a variable product. Well, in our last video, we created a simple product. We made a little HP Office laptop here, and we made it on sale, as you can see with the sale price there. We didn't give it a category because we hadn't created any yet. We'll be doing that in a moment. Today we're going to create a variable product. So I'm on the products page, obviously. I'm going to go ahead and say add new. And this one, I'm going to create a Dell Office desktop computer. And again, I'm going to put the full description in here. And we'll go on down. This time we're going to have it as what they call a variable product. So it's going to have different hard drive sizes and different RAM sizes you can put in there. But to start off with, we'll leave it as a simple product. We'll put in the price, we'll say $6.99. We'll leave it, we won't put it on sale. Tax status is absolutely fine. Again, we want to go down to inventory and set our stock number. Say we've got 30 of these. Not going to allow back orders, means when it runs out people can't order it. And we'll get an email when it gets down to 2. If you want to sell them individually, check that box. Basically it means only each customer can only buy one, but I'm happy to sell plenty to each customer, so I'm going to leave that unchecked. Shipping, don't really need to do anything here because we've got flat rate shipping enabled, so it's $20 everywhere. But if you've got a different shipping method, you can put in your weight and dimensions and actually calculate shipping with UPS or USPS. Linked products. Well, I've only got one product at the moment, and to put it in there, just start typing. The other product's an HP laptop, so if I put in HP, it should find it. There it is. And cross sales, we can do the same thing for that. And you can add several different products when you have them, and they'll appear under the main product, just as something that customer might be interested in. Now, attributes, we didn't use them on a single product, but we need to use them on a variable product. So I'm going to hit the add button, and the first attribute is going to be hard disk drive, and we'll say some different sizes. We'll say 500 gigabyte and separate with a pipe. The pipe's the little key that's usually just above the enter key, just above the backspace, and we'll say 750 gigabyte pipe, and then we'll say 1 terabyte. And don't need to put a pipe after the last one there. If you wanted to, you can put in as many as you want. That's going to be fine. Right, and I want to actually add a different variation. And this we'll say RAM. And here we'll put 4 gigabyte, pipe, 8 gigabyte, pipe, and 16 gigabyte. Great. Let's save our attributes. Now this is where we want to go up and change this from a simple product to a variable product. You can start off with a variable product if you want, but I like this. And this, if we go back down to our attributes, we want to make different combinations of all the hard disk drive and RAM options that we've got there. And open it up. Just check the little box that says use for variations. Save attributes. Let's go to variations. And what we can do, we can either manually create our variations, or we can create variations from all of the attributes, which I'm going to do this because it'll create a variation for each combination of attributes you've got there. So hit the go button. Yes, I'm sure. And it's added 9 variations, which makes sense because there's sort of 3 of each. And on each one, you've got 500 gigabyte hard drive, 4, 8, 16, 750, 4, 8, 16, 1 terabyte. And for instance, if you were selling a shirt, you could have it in different colors and different sizes. And for each of these, you can decide on a price and a shipping cost. Like I said before, I've got shipping enabled on mine. So we're going to start at the base price for this, which is $6.99. Don't need to change any of the shipping or anything like that. On the next one, we'll just go $7.99. $8.99, etc. I'll just fill out the rest of these. Okay, so I've just done the last one. Let's save our changes. And we've got the product short description below there, so I'll just take a bit of this info up here. Let's take it from there. Copy that. And we'll just paste that down below there. Now we want to put in a product image. So let's go and find an image for this one. There we go. You can put more product images in if you want to add more images under your regular one. Just for fun, I'll put in a couple of different computer pictures in there. Let's put one more in. And they'll appear under the main image, as you can see them there. Okay, product tags, you can put in things like computers, comma separate it, or just hit the plus when you're happy. As you see, it's put it down. Desktops. Etc, etc. Best deals on computers. Anything that relates to your product here and will help it to get found. Alright, we got categories here. We haven't really talked about these. All these computers can be in categories. For instance, let's create one called desktops. So let's add a new category. We'll say desktops. There it is, and it's automatically put it in it. But this can also be, we can create a category of Dell. So let's create another one. And it's okay for things to be in multiple categories. See, it's in 2 categories right there. And as we make our store bigger, we can do more categories and more categories, and you can have a page that just shows Dells or a page that just shows desktops. And it's really useful for filtering out your products. So I think we're good to go with this one. Let's save it or publish it and have a look at what we've got. Let's preview our changes. And there we are. There's our Dell Office desktop. Now here are the variations, and you can choose an option. And we'll say 500 gigabyte hard drive, and 4 GB of RAM. And as you can see, it gives you the price down there, 30 in stock. If I change the amount of RAM, you should see the price change. There we go, it's changed to $8.99. And of course you've got the option of quantity and add to cart right there. And here are the extra gallery images I just put in below here. Click on one of those, it'll pop up there. So that is how to make a variable product. In our last video, we showed you how to do variable products. The one before that, we did simple products, and we showed you how to add product categories. I've just done exactly the same and put a few more products in, giving them some categories like all-in-one, laptops, desktops, and brand names, Mac, Dell, HP, etc. So let's go ahead and create some brand pages. So let's go and add a new page. Top, hit the little plus icon down here, down a new page. And we're going to call this one desktops. And I want to use the Elementor with this today. So I'm going to go down to our page attributes. If it's not open, just hit the little arrow. And I want to use the Elementor full width, which will allow us to use the full width of the screen with Elementor. Now I'm going to hit the edit with Elementor. And it loads the Elementor console here. And here are our widgets on the left hand side here. Here's the free ones. Here's some pro ones. There's some great pro ones, but we're going to try and make this whole site with the free ones. And here is some general ones. So the first thing I want to do is just add some products. So I'm going to use a text module for that. You could use a code module, but I'm going to use a text module. Simply left click, drag and release once it's where you want it to be. Now, WooCommerce comes with a bunch of shortcodes, and here's a great page for shortcodes, and I'll put this link down below. And in this page, I want a product category. So I'm going to steal this bit of code here, product category, category, and the name of the category. You can choose to select how many rows and columns you got and how many products per page. But as I haven't got that many products in each category, I'm just going to take the category and category name. Then of course I'll have to put a square bracket on the end there, so Control C to copy back to our page, and I'm going to paste it in instead of this dummy text there. And like I say, I want to add a square bracket on the end there to close that out. Now sometimes they display here, sometimes they don't, but they will display on the regular page. Now I've got no category of clothing, so I need to put one of my category names here. So I've got laptop, is the name of my laptop categories. So let's update that and take a look. Sometimes they'll appear here, sometimes they won't, but they always appear on the front end, which is the most important part. To preview the changes, just hit the little eyeball next to the update button down here. And there we have it. It's put my little laptops in there. Okay, I'm not sure that I like the way that's displaying. I might give it a bit more space. Let's go back in here, and I'm going to make this full width. So I'm going to go into the section, which is the blue tab right here. And under layout, you'll see content width boxed. I'm going to change that to full width. Now update and preview the changes. Page will update. There we go, that's looking better. It's taking up all the screen, which is nice, a bit more like our shop, and it's got all of our laptops in there. Well, let's give it a heading, and then we can duplicate this page and make one for desktops and all-in-ones, and then we can add it to the menu here. So I want to add a new section, little plus button here on the section tab, left click, there's our new section. I'm going to create a heading, so let's go back to our little matrix up here. That'll bring our widgets back. Bring a heading in, and funnily enough, I'm going to call it laptops. Just select the text, or you can do it in the box wherever you prefer. And let's put that in the middle. You've got left, middle, right, and justified. Now I'm just going to leave that for a minute. I'm going to decorate our section. Here's the section tab, just left click on the middle bit and you can see it says edit section. Let's go to the style and give it a background color. You've got color, gradient, video or slideshow. Now if you want an image background, it can just be a slideshow with one image. So I want a gradient. I guess I'll use the colors I used in my logo there, which are blue and red. So top color, let's put in blue. Bottom colors I've already got red. I'm pretty sure it's the red I want. That's fine. Fantastic. And last thing I want to do is put a bit of box shadow at the bottom. So let's go down to border. And there's box shadow right there. Just going to click that to on and it's added it. Fantastic. So let's go back in here and edit our title text. Edit heading. And I want to go to style, typography. First I want to do color. I'm going to make it white. Then we'll go into the typography and I'm going to make it all caps. So it'll be transform uppercase. And I'm also going to add a bit of text shadow. So if I click off of there, there's the text shadow. I'm going to adjust it so it's a little more prominent. So I'm going to make the color actually black. I'm going to put the blur up a little bit more. You'll see it more when we exit out. And I can put the horizontal and vertical offset up a bit more. So we'll update that. If I click off of that, now you can see the box shadow, or the text shadow I should say, a bit better. So we're good to go. Let's update that and preview our changes. And there we have it. There's our little laptop page. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this as a template and I'm going to create one for desktops and all-in-ones. So to do that, go down to your update button. There's a little save options there. Save as template. I'll call it prods for products. And there it is. I spelled it wrong, but that's okay. I know what it is. We can close that out now. Now I'm going to go back to our dashboard. I'm going to create a new page. I'm going to call this desktops. Just realized the laptops page I called desktops. That's okay. I'll do another one and we'll change the name on the other one. So we'll call this one desktops. I want to edit with Elementor again, so I want to use full width. I'm going to hit the edit with Elementor. Now I'm going to go over to my little folder here. And here's where you can add templates. You've got my templates. And there's the one we just saved. I'm going to go ahead and insert. I'm going to say no to this. If you're not sure, always say no, because you can export these to other sites, and if you want them to overwrite the styles of the other site, you say yes. So be careful with that yes. If in doubt, always say no. And suddenly we've got a page full of content. So I need to just change the writing on here from laptops to desktops. And for our shortcode in here, I just need to change that from laptop to desktop. And there we have it. It's put in our little desktops for us. Fantastic. And I'm going to do exactly the same, create one for all-in-ones. I'll pause this while I do that because you know how to do all this now. And then we'll create a quick menu. Okay, so I've just done the all-in-ones and there they are. Let's go to our pages and let's create a quick menu and make our shop the home page. And that'll do for this video. So let's go down to appearance. Now I've made the pages. I'm going to go to menus. So let's create first menu. Let's give it a name. I'm just going to call it main. And I'm going to add all-in-one, desktops, laptops. I guess we could add my account. And we'll have cart. And we'll have the shop. Add to the menu. And as you can see, it's added them all to the menu. Now you can left click and drag them and put them where you want. Put shop at the top there. That's fine. Save our menu. Now we need to assign it. So if we go to our customizer, hit the customize right here. We can go to menus, view all locations, and it's desktop horizontal menu. And of course we want that for the mobile menu also. And there you can see it's put in there, shop, all-in-one, desktops, laptops, my account and cart. Now, I don't want this generic page as the front page. For the time being, let's put our shop page as the front page. And we'll be creating a new front page that's a lot more interesting as we go along. So if we go back, we can go to home page settings, a static page, choose the page. I want it to be the shop page. Let's grab that one. There we go. And that'll do it for now. Let's publish and check out the site. Visit the site. So we've now got our home page with a shop with all of our products on it. We've got an all-in-one page. We've got a desktop page. We've got a laptop page. Got an account page which will ask you to log in. And you've got your cart page. I don't think I've got anything in my cart at the moment. No, carts. Oh yes, I have got one thing in there. Great. Well, in our last video, we created a shop page and some product pages here quickly. Today, we're going to build a full width hero slider for our home page. This is just a temporary home page that we put up with some products just to have something on there. What we're going to do in the next few videos is start customizing our home page with a hero slider, some sales modules and banners, etc. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is add a new page. I'm going to go up to the plus, go down to page. And I'm going to give it the title of Tech Home. I'm going to edit with Elementor. Because of that, I want to go over to my page attributes and switch it from default template to Elementor full width, so we can use the full width of our screen here. Once I've done that, I'll hit the edit with Elementor button. And here's our Elementor panel on our new page here. So at the top, on the left hand side here, you've got the regular Elementor modules, the free ones. Underneath those, we got the Pro modules. They got some fantastic modules in the Pro version, but I'm going to try and do this whole site with the free version. And underneath, we got some general ones we can use. And the one I want today is Image Carousel. So I'm going to left click on it, drag it over, and there's our carousel module. It's already got it highlighted up here. If not, you can click on the little blue tab here for the module, the dark tab for the row, and the big blue tab at the top for the section. So I want to add some images. So I've created some images. They're 1920 by about 700 pixels, just over tall. I'm going to go ahead and drag them up to my media library. I'm going to select them and simply drag them up. Release with my left mouse. Once they've uploaded, I'm going to create a new gallery. And there we are. I know everybody doesn't have Photoshop. I created mine in Photoshop. I believe there's a great free program called GIMP that you can do pretty much the same thing with, that everybody tells me. I'll put the link to that graphics editor down below this video. So once they're there, you can left click and reorder them any way you want. I've only got 3, and I'm going to insert them into the gallery. Now at the moment it's showing them as thumbnail size. I want to show them either as full or as large. So down the bottom you've got full. Number of slides, I only want 1 at a time. Slides to show 1. There we go. Now I want to make this full screen so it stretches to the either side there. So let's go into our section tab, the blue one at the top here. Click on the middle dots right there, and you'll see we're now editing the section. Content width, I want to make that full. There we go. So we now got a bit of a slider here. I want to make sure there's no gap either side. So I want this to be truly full width. So let's go into the columns and make sure there's no padding anywhere. And we'll go to layout, go to advanced, put a 0 in for the padding all round. There we go, and that's made that disappear right there. We also want to do the same for the section here, because I don't want any padding up the top. I want this to be buffered right up against the menu here. So let's go back into our section, to the advanced tab, and do the same thing. I'll put 0 top. If you've got the chain highlighted there, it'll do all 4 at once for you. If you just want to do one side at a time, just unlink that. There we go. So that's more like it. That's buffered up against the top there. It's sliding. Now let's go and look at the settings for the slider itself, or the carousel. Images full, slides to show 1, great. Image stretch. If it doesn't reach the whole of the width there, you can do image stretch. Navigation, arrows and dots. Well, there's your arrows and here's your dots. You can choose to have one, the other, or none at all. That works for me, having it all like that, so I'm happy with that. And you can put a link in if you want to. I'm going to go ahead and link this to our shop page. So I'm going to say custom URL. I'm simply going to right click, copy the link from my shop page and paste it in there. Fantastic. I don't need a caption because I've got the caption actually on my photographs at the moment, and that would be a caption underneath anyway. And here you can choose where to have it as a title, caption, or a description. If we look at the additional options, I do want it to autoplay, so when they come to the site it'll start revolving. I do want it to pause on hover. That will give people to go down and click the button and read whatever's on there, give them the opportunity. Pause on interaction, exactly the same thing. Autoplay speed, at the moment it's set to 5,000 milliseconds or 5 seconds. You can change that here. For me that's okay. I might slow it down a bit perhaps. 7 seconds. Infinite loop, yes, it means it's going to go round and round and round. If you put it to no, it's going to stop when it gets to the last slide. At the moment we've got it on slide, so it slides. We can change that effect. I'm going to change it to fade. So this way they'll just fade in one to another. And I'm going to slow down the fade speed to about 800 milliseconds. It's entirely up to you. Just fades a little more gracefully like that, I find. Direction, that's pretty irrelevant because it's just fading in on top of each other. If it was sliding, you could change that to right. Let's go over to the Style tab, and you could position the arrows inside where they are at the moment. If you had a smaller carousel or slider, you could position them on the outside. That's fine for me. You can make them bigger or smaller simply by doing that. Color for me at the moment is fine. That works on all of my slides. Now the dots at the moment, they're outside. I think I might put those inside. They might encroach on my button there. No, I think that's going to be fine. Size, I think I would bring them up slightly in size. And I'm going to change the color to red. There we go. And as you can see, they're now red down the bottom there. In the image, you can change the border radius and styles if you want to. Give it a border. At the moment, I've got no border. If we were to put one on, I'll put a solid border on there. I'll say 5 pixels. You'll see it. I'm going to take this away. You can see it appear there now, the red border at the thing there. So I really don't want a border, so let's change that back to 0. And we're pretty much done with our slider. We've done the advanced tab where you have your margin, which will push it down or up, and the padding, which gives it the gap all around. Z-index pulls it forward or backwards. You've got layers to your site. If something was going over the top of it and you wanted to have this in front, you'd increase the number of the Z-index. CSS ID and CSS classes, we don't need that at the moment. An ID, we'll be covering those later on. You can give it a section and an ID and scroll to it. CSS classes, you can give it a sort of name, each one its name, then you can target it with some custom CSS. You've got motion effects. We don't really need to use anything on this at the moment because it's got its own motion. And the rest of these are fairly self-explanatory. Custom CSS. This is where you put any custom CSS. But we really don't need any of that today for our slider. I think we're actually done with this. So let's hit the update button. And hit the little eyeball to preview our changes. And as you can see, it opens in another tab, and here's our full width hero slider. And it's sliding every 7 seconds, and it's taking just under a second to fade to the next one, as you can see. Make sure our arrows are going to work. Fantastic. And when I click on it, it doesn't matter where I click on it, but just because it's there, the graphic button, I'll click on the button. And there we are, it takes us to our shop page. So there we go, that's how to make a full width carousel slider using Elementor, really easy. Well, in our last video we created this sort of hero slider up here. This sort of fading image thing with a button, call to action button and a title up there. Today let's create a product sale section. So I've got a product here, one of our gaming desktops. And it's got a title, a bit of text, a star rating, and a pulsating button to get people's interest. Really easy to do with Elementor, so let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is enable Elementor. Hit the Edit with Elementor button at the top. And let's just get rid of this section that I've created up here. Just to get rid of a section, just hit the little X right there. There we go. And here's where we left off last time. Okay, first thing I want to do is add an image. And it's going to be that product image. There it is right there. And I actually want more than one column, so I'm going to go up into the column right here, right click and say add new column, and that'll split it into 2. And I still want one size slightly smaller, the image. We can readjust this later on, and you can just left click and drag in the middle there to resize it if you need to. So let's add our image. Just click on this, choose the image that I want. I think it was that one right there that I used. There it is. Okay, let's start building the actual add text over here. Click on the little matrix and we'll give it a heading. Simply select your text and put in what you want. Okay, we got that in there. Now let's decorate it the way we want. I'm going to have it in the middle, so I'm going to put the alignment to the middle there. I'm going to go to the style, text color. I'm going to make that red the same as this sort of red color up here, which is this bright red up here. Now for the typography, I want to make it uppercase so it stands out. So that's transform, uppercase. You can make it bigger or smaller by simply dragging this up or down. Just have it the size that you want it. I want it a fair size. You can change the weight here. I think it's bold already. Yeah, it is. It's a title. So we're good to go with that. Let's move on to our next little bit. I want to add just a bit of text, something about the product. Obviously, I haven't got any info about it because it's not a real product. So I'm just going to drag my text editor module in, and you see the little blue line, just place it where you want it. That's fine right there. I'm just going to leave it as that dummy text because I really don't have anything to say about this desktop. Obviously you'd say something like fantastic desktop sale, really fast, great for gaming, or something like that. But that's fine. I'll just leave it like that. Let's go to our style. I want to put it in the middle again, and I'm going to leave it just like that. Next thing I thought would be good for something like this was to add a little star rating. So let's go back to our matrix, slide on down past the pro ones because we're using the free version for this one. Here's a star rating, and again just left click, drag it where you want it. Where you see the blue line is where you want it to be. Just release your left mouse button, and there's your little star rating. Now you can have it as solid or just an outline. I prefer actually the solid personally, and you can use Font Awesome or Unicode. Font Awesome's a huge font set, so I'm going to leave it on that. That's great. I'm not going to give it a title. I am going to put it in the middle. You can give it a rating of 0 to 10 if you want, but 5 is good for me today. And then you can decide what you want. If it's only a 4.9, or you see the part of the star disappears there, just like regular ratings that you see everywhere else. But let's keep this on 5, seeing as we're trying to sell it. So let's go over to our style now. I want to make these a lot bigger, so I'm going to grab the size slider and slide it up, something like that. And let's space them out so it fills a bit more space there. I'm going to take that up slightly more. And the color, I'm going to use exactly the same. Now there's an option for the unmarked color. If we take that rating back down, and I'll just show you, let's take this down to 4, I guess. And you can see that one's grayed out. You could change that last color if you wanted to in the style. Make it whatever color you want. But like I say, I'm trying to sell this, so this is having a 5-star rating. Okay, and last but least, I want to add a big button that gets people's attention, that takes you to the product itself. So let's go back to our matrix, and at the top here we've got buttons again. Same thing, left click, drag it to where you want it, drop it there, and there it's put it in for you. And you've got different types: info, successful, and those are actually bootstrap classes, and success will be green, danger will be red, etc. But let's go ahead and change the text to get the bargain, or get the deal now, whatever you want to say with your button. I want to put our button in the middle, and of course it's got to go somewhere, so it's got to have this link right here. So let's go to our products list, down to our product right here, the gaming desktop, and where it says view, you can right click on it, copy the link address. Let's go back and simply paste it in there. Get rid of that hashtag, obviously. Great, so that's going to take them where we want. But I want to make that button a lot larger, and I want to make it red to start off with and have a hover color probably. So alignment wise, you can do left, right, middle, or you can justify it, which will fill the area available. And I want to make it pretty big, so I'm going to make it extra large. Because my button up here has no corners on it, I want to continue that style. So we'll do that in a moment with the style. So we're good to go here. Let's go ahead and move on to our style section. And typography, let's go in there and make this uppercase as well, so it gets people's eyes on it. Size, we can make that a little bit bigger too, something like that. That's fine. Now the actual text color is fine as white. Let's make the background color red. Again, just drag it up to where you want it, or put in your hex code, however you want to do it. And when people hover on it, let's change it to blue. So there's the normal, here's the hover. Text color is fine as white. Background color we'll just change as blue. That's fine. Hover animation, that's the bit that, if you want, they've got some animations here. If I put it back on hover animations, that you can do all kind of different things. Shrink, pulse, pulse grow, pulse shrink, push, pop, bounce in. I mean, there's a huge amount to play with here. I'm going to put mine on pulse. And as you can see, when I hover over it, it sort of pulses like that. That works for me. And as I was saying, I want to have square corners. They're slightly rounded at the moment. So border radius, I'm going to just make sure I've got a 0 in all the boxes there. There we go. And it'll be nice and square. We can add a bit of box shadow to make it stand out a bit more against the page. And let's just move this so we can see it. You see it to the right there when I move it to the right. I actually want this at 0 position, or 1's close enough. And I want it down a bit. There we go. But I don't want it the whole width of the thing. So spread wise, we can pull it in a little bit so it's like that. That's going to work fine for me. If you want more blur, then you can take this up so it sort of fades out more. But I quite like that. And the last thing I want to do to this really is, it's a little close to those stars. So let's go over to advanced and give it a margin, or you can do this with padding. Well, actually, I don't think you can do it with padding. If we put padding on the top with a button, quite often that just adds padding above the text. So let's try it. No, that did actually work fine. So you can do it with the padding if you want to, but I don't want it everywhere. I just want it on the top. So let's say give it, we'll try 30. Yeah, that's about right. That's fine. Okay, and I want to bring the whole thing, or this gaming, down slightly so it's a bit more in line with that. So let's go back in here. And again, we'll go to the advanced. Let's give it some margin of about 20. Yeah, I think that'll work fine. So we've got a link going to our product here. Let's make the image actually link to the product also. So if we go into the image, here's the link here. You can select custom URL and just paste in the link we used for our button there, which is still in my clipboard. There we go. Great. And like I say, if you want to resize, you can drag this still. Make these columns bigger and smaller. When you get smaller, that image is going to get smaller. So I think we're good about there. Now, just to finish this off, I thought we'd put something in the background. So let's go to our section and we'll go to style. Let's go down to shape dividers and put some dividers in the background, which are just shapes you can put in the background just for interest. So on the top, I'm going to use the first one right here, which is mountains. Color wise, I'm going to make it blue, and you'll see it when I put the color in. There you go. But I really don't want it quite standing out as much as that. I mean, that's quite nice, but I'm going to take the opacity, this bottom slider, down a bit so it's more see-through, and it'll fade paler as I do that into the white background, something like that. So it's there, but not quite as bold. And for the bottom, I'm going to put the same thing on the bottom. I'll use the mountains, but I'll make them red on the bottom. So let's give it a color. Give it a red color I've been using. And again, I'm going to take the opacity down so it's sort of there, but not quite as intrusive. But that's entirely up to you. Okay, so I think we're good to go. Let's update. And once updated, let's hit the little eyeball and preview our changes. So there's our little slider. And here we have our little gaming desktop sale. And that button is certainly going to get people's attention. So let's click on it and make sure it goes where we want it to go. And there we are. Fantastic. Great. Let's go back and we're done. Well, in our last video, we've been putting together this little e-commerce store using the free Elementor plugin. We put together this little sort of gaming desktop special section right here. Today, let's add another section and let's make it a sort of top selling product section and add a couple of top selling products. Really easy to do with the Elementor and WooCommerce. So let's get started. The first thing I want to do is hit the Edit with Elementor button. And I'm going to go down to where I was, which is our new page here. You will notice when working with WooCommerce and Elementor, sometimes the products will show up here, sometimes they won't, but they always show up on the front end, which is the most important thing. First thing I'm going to do is just delete this section. And let's start again. Okay, so I'm going to add a heading. And you can top selling products, best computers, whatever you want to call yours. And let's style our font right here. First thing I want to do is put it in the middle with the alignment down the bottom here. Now I'm going to go to style. Going to give it a color. I guess I'll make it the red color we've been using. And I want to make it uppercase, so we'll go into typography. Go down to transform and make it uppercase. You can change the slide with a slider here or type in a value there, however you want to do it. That's great. So let's go back to our matrix. And next thing we want to do is put in our product IDs. I'm going to use a text editor to do this. You could use a code module if you wanted. Left click, drag, and just drop it where you want it. You see the blue lines telling you where it's going to go. I want it under my title here. Now we want to add a short code so we can display some of our WooCommerce products. And there's a great site here. You'll find the link to this below the video here. And it's got all kind of short codes on it. I'm just going to copy this one that they've got here for products and then put in my own product numbers. Control C to copy and just paste it in the module. You can either paste it here or here, whichever works for you. Now I need to get rid of their numbers and put in my own numbers, making sure not to cut off the inverted commas there either side. Let's go to my products and choose a couple of numbers. You'll notice when you hover over it, it'll have the ID number underneath. There we go, 129, 119, 107, etc. So I just need to put the product numbers that I want in there and separate them with a comma. So let's put in 119, comma, and product number 83, and product number 52, and product number 48. There we go, and let's update. Now, like I say, sometimes they show up here, sometimes they don't. But if we view it by hitting the little eyeball icon there, it'll open it in a new tab. Let's go down and just check. Okay, I'm missing one. I think product 83 perhaps. Let's change that. I think it might have been 63. Update. Now let's take a look and refresh. There we go. So we've got 4 little products there. You can add more if you want to, and they'll just spill down into a new line. Or you can add another short code for columns if you want to change the amount of columns that you've got there. Just have a look at these short codes and it'll tell you exactly how to do that. Okay, so we've actually got our products in here. The next thing I want to do is just put a simple gradient in the background just to make it a little more interesting looking. So let's go to our section, the blue tab, and we'll go to style. As you can see, suddenly they've shown up as I've gone to the section there. And I want to go to gradient And let's make the first color something like black, perhaps. Yeah, that works for me absolutely fine. So that's really all I want to do to this little section here. Just update and have a look at it on the other end. Yeah, that's fine. It's going to work absolutely perfectly for me. Like I say, you can add more products and put whatever you want there. What would be nice, we'll perhaps do it in the next video, is to get all of our WooCommerce buttons here and our sales tags to be the same color as the buttons we've been using up the top. And that involves a little bit of CSS, but it's really easy, and I'll give you everything you need to do it in the next video. Well, in our last video, we added this little top selling section, and it looks fine. What I'd like to do though now is change the color of our WooCommerce buttons to match either the logo red or the button red that we're using here, that we've been using through the site. Now, most of the times I'd go in, I'm using Google Chrome here, you go into the inspector, get the element and write a bit of CSS code. And change it that way and write it in. But there's a lot, that's kind of a long way around of doing it. It works absolutely fine. I've come across a great website. If I refresh this page, that'll go back to normal because it's non-destructive with the Chrome editor. There's a great website here called Theme Location. I'll put this link below the video here. They've kindly done all the CSS for you. Now, funnily enough, they've actually used the color I'm using, which is just a plain red there. And all you need to do is select all of this down to that closing curly bracket there. Control C to copy, or right click and copy, however you like to do it. Then you want to go to your theme customizer, which is Appearance, Themes, Customize. I've got mine open here. And let's go back so I can show you exactly where it is. If you go down to the bottom, we're using the 2020 theme here. Here's the additional CSS tab. Just click on it. It'll open up. And I'll paste that code in there, and you'll instantly see our buttons for our shop right here change to that brighter red. Control V to paste. And there we are. We've now got our buttons matching our logo color, which is great. One thing that it does miss out, which is the sale button. So I'll add that piece of code and I'll put that down below the video as well. We just need to tag it on at the end. So let's have a look, inspect. And that's the class of on sale. So I'm going to drop down one. I'm going to put a dot because it's a class. And I'm going to copy that on sale right there, Control C, paste it in there. Open a couple of curly brackets, drop down, and in between I'll just say background red, or whatever color you want to use. You can use hex code and all kind of different codes, and as you can see, that's now changed our sale buttons to that color too. So I need to publish that to make it permanent, and I'll close this out. Now if we go back to our tech home and refresh, those buttons should all change to the red color. There we go, fantastic. And if we go to our cart, I'm guessing I've got something in there. It's also changed the default buttons here to that red color as well. So that's great. Now I hear you say, what if we're not using red for our color? Well, it's really easy to change. There's a couple of ways you can do it. You can go through and just everywhere that you see red there, red important, just change it to the color you want. Or I've got a great free text editing program. It's called Brackets. I'll put this link down below also. And I use it for doing my Bootstrap and HTML coding. So I'll just go to File. I'll open a new page here. I'll get this code again. I'll put it in to the free text editor right here. I'm going to go to Find, hit Replace, or hit Control H. I'm going to simply write red in here. You've got to write it exactly the way it is that they've put it, which is lowercase red. And I'm going to have it replaced with, say, blue. Or you can put it, like I say, a hex code in if you wish. Then I'm going to go over here and say Replace All. Now I'll copy all of that. Control A to copy it all, select it all, Control C to copy it. Let's go back to our customizer. And now I can simply Control A, select everything there, and Control V to paste everything in. And as you can see, our buttons are now blue. And we can work that with a hex code as well. I've got a little color picker, free Chrome color picker here. Let's go to a crazy purple or something like that. And it'll give us the code there. Let's just copy this code. Let's go back to here. Now again, we'll go to Find, Replace. This time we'll put in blue, because that's the color we changed for. Now, because this is a hex code, you've got to have a hashtag in front of it. And we'll paste that hex code in there and replace. Control A to select all, Control C to copy. Again, let's get rid of my color picker here. Control A to select all, Control V, paste it in there, and now we've got purple buttons. Really easy to do. So let's go ahead and put this back to how it was, which was their original text for my purposes. And I've just got to do that sale button again. And it was a class of on sale. Dot for a class, name, open some curly brackets, and background red. Background colon red, semicolon. There we go. So that's how easy it is to change all your buttons from WooCommerce to a custom color. Well, we've been putting this little e-commerce store together with the free version of Elementor. Today we're going to add a Lottie animation. Now Lottie's a site that provides free and paid animations. If I just get out of here and we'll go to the home page. I went over to animations. I'll put this link below the video. And they provide all these different animations here. All these top ones are free and there's plenty of them. And if you go down, they've also got some premium ones which start off real cheap, 99 cents, and go up to about $7 or $8. You can also request people build certain types of animations that will suit your site, which is pretty cool. So let's get started. All you need to do is choose whatever animation you want. You can put in a keyword up here like office or something like that. I think that's what I chose before. And once you find the one that you want to use, that's the one I just used before. Let's use a slightly different one here. Let's take this one this time. It'll open up in a new window. Now we've done videos before where you can load it with a JSON file using another third-party plugin. But if you don't have a plugin, you can just simply go down a little bit and they've got an HTML button here. And it'll open up in a new page. You can set the play mode normal or bounce, forward, reverse. You can set a background color. I'm going to leave it as transparent here because we'll actually put the background color in or a gradient color in using the Elementor. You can set the size here. I'm going to increase mine to about 500 pixels, I think. And you can also set the speed. It's 1, double the speed. And as you can see, that speeds it up. I quite like that actually, that speed. Or you can slow it down by saying something like 0.5. And as you can see, that really slows it down. I quite like that too. Or even 2.5. Let's try that. Yeah, that's fine. And below that you can choose whether to show the controls. These are the controls. I don't particularly want to show that. Autoplay, which means it'll just automatically play, obviously. You can choose whether to play it on hover or not, and choose whether loop. If you uncheck that, once it's gone through its cycle once, it'll stop. I'm going to leave mine looped so it just goes round and round. Now when you're done, it outputs the code at the bottom here, and you can either select and copy or just hit the copy code button. Now that we've copied the code, let's go back to our site. In fact, I can close that page. I've got it open here, and I'll delete this row. We'll start again, or delete the section, I should say. Because it's code, we can use a code block. Here's all the Elementor widgets here in the little matrix. You can use a text editor if you want, but it's got a specific HTML module down here. Here we are. So I'm going to left click and drag this over. And we simply paste our code in here. Control V to paste. And the animation's shown up there. Fantastic. What I'll do is I'll add another column so we can keep this one separate and have something else over here perhaps. The little black tabs for the column there, little blue ones for the actual module or widget itself, and the big blue one at the top for the section. So I'm going to right click on the column and hit add new column. There we've now got two. And our first one here, I'm simply going to go in, just make sure I've got it selected. I'm going to go to style, I'm going to go to the background, which is the top there. You've got color, gradient, or slideshow, which is an image background if you only use one slide. So I'm going to use gradient. I'm going to leave that red in the bottom, and I'm just going to put blue up the top. Yeah, fantastic. When you're done, just hit the update button, and let's preview our changes. Go down to where we were. And there you have it. That is a nice little feature to have on your site. That's going to get people's eyeballs on it pretty quickly when it rolls up the screen. Well, in our last video, we added this little animation here. And today, let's add a little product carousel with a call to action button that links to our laptops page. So let's get started. First thing I want to do is edit with Elementor. Now we've got the Elementor panel loaded. Let's go down, and I'll delete the little section that I just did, and I'll return the section background to how it was also. There we go. That's pretty much how it was last time. The only change I made, we'll do this in the end if you want to do that one. Right, let's get started. Let's go to our matrix. And the first thing I want to do is just to add a simple carousel here, and then we'll put a call to action button underneath. So while I'm doing this, I'm going to update and get the page up in another panel. Hit the little button to get the page up there, because I'm going to want to copy my laptop page link. So I'm going to right click and copy this link address. We're going to use that in a moment. Let's go down. We've been using the free version. We're trying to complete this site just using the free version of the Elementor builder here. And let's grab an image carousel. Just dropped it where I want it. Now I've got to add some images. Just click on the plus icon there. Let's add our laptop images to the site. Just left click on the images that you want here. I think that will probably do it. Now you can reorder them by simply left clicking and dragging, putting them where you want to put them. Add captions if you want to. I'm not going to add captions to mine. I'm going to simply hit the insert gallery button. And there we have it. By default, it's displaying 3 at a time here. I really only want it to display 1, and we'll change the thumbnail size, because if I display 1, it's gonna make it a little bit blurry. So we'll say slides to show 1. And because it's a thumbnail, we want to stretch it all the way, image stretch. We want it to be as big as it can be. There we go, and that looks a little blurry, so let's take the image size up a little bit. I'm going to make medium large, should do it. That's a lot sharper. Great, and it's on autoplay, which is exactly what I want. Autoplay, pause on hover, fantastic. You can change the speed here as well on additional options. I want it to keep going round and round and round, and I want it to slide is absolutely fine. Let's take the actual animation speed down a bit, the time it takes to actually change from one to the other. Let's take that up to about 8. That's great. So the only other thing, I think I'll give it a little padding left and right just so it's slightly smaller. Let's put our button in first though, decide whether we actually need to do that. I don't think I need any padding top and bottom. So let's go into the Advanced tab here, still on our module, and take away any padding top and bottom that we've got. Or what we could do is just add a little bit right and left. So I'll uncheck that. If you leave that checked, it'll do them all at the same time. Let's put 50 right and 50 left padding wise. That should help a little bit. Now let's add our button. Let's go back to our matrix. And we're just simply going to grab a button, drop it where we want it, and let's say laptop clearance. I want that button to be in the middle. You can have it left, right, you can have it justified so it stretches the whole width. I think I'll just have mine in the middle for the time being. Now the link, that's where we want to put our laptop page link, which I just copied earlier on. I'm going to put that one in there. Now the button color itself, let's go over to our style. And here's the text color, that's white, that's fine. Background color, let's make that red like the rest of our store here. I want to make that button a lot bigger, so we can go back to our content. And here's the size. Let's make that extra large. I want it pretty big, but I don't want any corners on it. So we'll go back to style. Border type, border radius, that's what's giving it the corners. If I put 0 in there, that'll be square again. There we go, fantastic. Now my text, I think I'm just going to put that uppercase. So if I go into typography, size is fine, but I just want it to be capitalized. So I'm going to go to transform and hit uppercase. Great, that's just exactly what I want. Now the color on hover, I think I'm going to make that blue. Text color can stay the same. So now when we hover over it, it'll take blue. That's absolutely fantastic. You can give it a animation if you want, like we did with the others. I'm just going to leave mine just plain as it is. That's fine. And let's give it a little bit of box shadow. Let's put it in there. Let's just offset it a bit so we can see it a bit more. Blur's fine. Let's take that spread just down a little bit. Something like that. Fantastic. Let's update our button. Now let's go back to this module. And what I want to do is I'll link this to that same page as well. So if they click on the image or the button, it's going to take them to the laptop page. So let's go to our content. And here's the link. Custom URL. And I'll paste our laptop page link in there too. Fantastic. Now the only other thing that I really want to do is just sort of put a background image in behind this section here to make it look a little more interesting. So if we go up to the tab for the section, the little blue tab at the top there, click on it, it'll take you to the section. Go to background. And we've got background type. Let's put a slideshow, and if you just put one image in there, it'll just act as an image background. And I'll put in that image. As you can see, it's back there now. And we want to, looks like we've got an overlay going on there. So let's go to our background overlay. Let's take that color away and make it black. And you can slide your opacity slider up for the more image you want to show there. If you don't want any, it can go up all the way. I want a bit of that just showing in the background, so we've got some contour back there. And that's pretty much it. Let's update our page. And we'll take a look. Go down to where we were. And there it is. We've got our carousel sliding nicely. It's got a hover link, and I can see from the link that it's showing me down there, that's going to go to our laptop page. Let's test out our button. Great, taking us straight to our laptops page. Just what we wanted. So there you have it. There's how to add a simple product carousel with a call to action button that takes you to the laptop page. So today I'm going to put this little circle counter section together. Sort of computer sold type stats section. Really easy to do with Elementor, so let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is hit the edit with Elementor button. Now once loaded, I'm going to go down to where we want to work. And I'm going to delete these two sections. We've actually got two sections here. That's that one gone and that one gone. And we'll start again. Okay, so let's add a section. I'm going to hit the little red cross for a section there. I'm going to make it one column. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and steal this title right here. I'm going to right click on that and say copy. And then I'm going to paste it in our little section right there. And we've got our first heading, and I'm going to call that computers sold. You can either do it in here, or you can go up to the block and do it inside the block, however you want to do it. Great. Now I don't quite want that much padding top and bottom on these things. I want a bit on the top, don't want very much on the bottom because our next section is going to be behind there. But let's just color up our section. Here's the section tab, just going to click on it. So we're editing the section. And I'm going to go to the style and give it a colored background. I'm just going to make it blue, light blue. There we go. And our text, I think, let's click on the little widget for the text there, and we'll turn that text white. Style white. Everything else is fine, uppercase, everything like that. So let's go ahead and do our next little section now that's going to have our number counters in it, and then we'll adjust our padding and what have you afterwards. So let's go back to our matrix, and like I say, we're trying to build this with the free ones only. So we've got our basic ones here, and we've got the pro ones which we're not using in this at the moment, and now we've got a counter which I want there. So I'm going to left click and drag it to where I want it, which is going to be right there. Now I'm going to make 3 of these, so I want 3 columns. There's a little column. It's the blue one for the section, the little black one for the column there, and the little blue one for the widget within the column there. So I want to add 2 more columns, so I'm going to hit add new column, and one more time. And there we have it. We've now got 3 columns there. Fantastic. Okay. Well, while we're here, I may as well style the background. I want it the same color as that one, so I'm going to go back into the section itself, to the style, color, and again I'll make it that light blue color. That number will disappear into it because it's the same generic color. Let's go back into this now, and we're in the counter widget itself, and I'll go in there. I'm going to make the text color white, and let's make that title white also. So back to the content, and what we want it to say, this will perhaps be laptops. And for the text, that's fine, but I want to make it uppercase, and I really don't want it to be that serif font with the little flourishes on the bottom there. I want a sort of sans serif font. So let's go to our style and to the title this time. Text color's fine in white, but typography, I want it to be a different font. Arial will do, because that's sans serif, and we'll make it uppercase as well. So transform, uppercase. Great. Now I actually want to create a circle around here, like a regular circle counter, which is not automatic on this, but we can do it by adding a border. So let's close that one up. We'll go to advanced, go down to border, and at the moment there's none. I want a solid border. As you can see, it's dropped it in there. Color, I'm going to make it white. I want it to be about 5 pixels wide, so I'll just put 5 in there. And if you've got that highlighted, it'll do all 4 at once for you. Now then, I want to make this a complete circle. So we'll first give it a border radius that will kind of make it oval, and then we'll adjust it with some padding. So I'm going to use percentage. I'm going to click on the little percentage right there. And I want to make it 50% all around. Looks like it's only 50 pixels. I want that to be percent. There we go. As you can see, it's a perfect oval right there. Now, to make this into a circle, we're going to have to add some padding top and bottom to make that oval stretch a bit, and a bit of margin left or right to pull it in a little bit. So let's go over to our advanced tab. Hit the advanced drop down right there. Here's our margin. First, let's bring it in. Let's bring it in. I don't want it on all sides. I just want left and right, not top and bottom. So I'm going to uncheck that. And I'm going to give it 50 on the right and 50 on the left. That's brought it in some. Now let's give it some padding top and bottom. Uncheck that one and put 50 on top and 50 on the bottom. Getting there, I'd say we need a little bit more. Let's say 60. That's there. We could just take it in slightly. When you're happy with it, I'm doing this by eye. Yeah, I think that'll work for me. Obviously, you adjust it to how you're happy with it. Then, when we're happy with the shape and style, I actually want to make that number a lot bigger. So let's see if that's going to change anything when I put a sort of 4-digit number in there. Let's say, here's the ending number, 224. That's fine. Don't think I want that separator in there, so I'm going to take the 1000 separator off. We're back in the content for that. Yeah, so I'm happy with that. Great. So as soon as you're happy with it, we can copy it over and just change a few things when we move it over. So I'm going to right click, hit duplicate, drag one over here, doesn't matter which one because they're both exactly the same. Then this one will be desktops. And we'll give it a different number. And when we're happy with that one, we'll duplicate it again. Move it over, again, doesn't matter which one. And this one will be all-in-one units. And we'll give him a different number too. Now what you could do is stagger them so they take more time for the higher numbers, or more time on the right and less time on the left. Here's the animation duration. Let's make this 3000, which is 3 seconds for that one. This one will make it 2500 milliseconds, or 2.5 seconds for this one. and we'll leave that one on too. So they've got slightly different times. Now I've got way too much gap between this computer sold and here. So let's go into here. Looks like there might be, there's nothing on the bottom of there, just check that out. Okay, padding wise we've got nothing. Oh, we've got 50 on the bottom. Well, we can take that away for a start. Remember, we copied this title over from the top, so we can take that away. And we also want to take some padding away from the section right there. So let's go into the section. You can see the lines for the section top and bottom there. And again, on the bottom, just on the bottom, I'm going to take that away. That's fine, but we want 50 on the top because it's too close to that section above. That's about right. And we could take some more away from this section just on the top. So go to the section, advanced, and again let's uncheck that, and let's put 50 on the bottom. Should do it, I should think. There we go. So they're reasonably close there. And while we're in here, let's go to our style and we'll add a divider to this one as well, a shape divider. So we're on style, we're still in the section, in the lower section. Don't want to put one on the top, but I will put one on the bottom. And let's use something like waves with a brush I think I used before, and we'll make that dark blue. And we'll take the opacity down just a little bit so it's not quite as in your face as it is there. Something like that. And let's bring the height up to where it is you want it. You can actually take it up to the section above like that if you want to. That actually works for me. I'm just going to take it down just a slight bit. And I think we're good to go. Let's hit the update button. And preview the changes. And we'll go down to where we were. Well, there we go. And as you can see, the counter on the right took longer than the one on the left. We've got our little wave. Fantastic. So there's how to build a little stat counter, a little circle counter section for your computers. Let's create a privacy policy page today. A lot of things have to be GDPR or GDPR compliant nowadays. So let's add a privacy policy that follows those guidelines. I found a free one online and I'll put this link below the video. So let's get started. First thing I want to do is add a new page. I'm going up to plus, page. I'm going to call it privacy policy. And I'm going to edit it with the Elementor. Because we're using Elementor, we want to go to page attributes and use the Elementor full width so we can make use of the whole width of the screen here. So I've done that, and now I'm going to edit with Elementor. Okay, once loaded, first thing I want to do is put our page header that we created in there. So let's go to this little file box here, My Templates. And there it is. And I'm just going to insert that. I'm going to say no to the styles. It doesn't matter for this one because it's the same site. And there it is. And I just need to change that to privacy policy. Great. Now down below we can get rid of this module right here, which looks like a shop module or something. And I want to go to my matrix. I'm just going to insert a text module, text editor right here. I'm going to pull it across, drop it in there. Now I'm going to go to the privacy policy, the free privacy policy right here. I'm going to copy it all and paste it in. Now you want to look through this. It's pretty generic and you want to put your site names in where they've got their site names in. There's not much to update. This is not legally binding, but it is a good start for a privacy policy for your site. And there we have it. Control C to copy. And let's just select Control A and paste everything in there. There we go. Now I want a bit of a border. I don't want this full width. We're looking like our section here is full width at the moment. So I'm going to go into the section. I'm going to say stretch selection no. Content width. I want the content width to be boxed. There we go. And just to make it a little more interesting, see, that's where we need to put our website name in. So we'll say, we'll put our own website name in there. And of course you can link it to the website itself if you want to, which seems a little over the top seeing as they're actually on the website itself. Just copy my URL and just put that in there. There we go. Okay, and we've got all this lovely information here, which is fine. I just want to decorate the background a little bit to make it slightly more interesting. So let's go to our section right here, the big blue tab in the middle. Make sure we're on Edit Section. You can go onto Style, and I'm just going to put a shape divider behind there. For the top, let's find something. Let's put in the mountains. That's fine. So let's take the height up to pretty big. And if we look at this page, I want it to go about halfway down the page. So let's make it maybe, let's try 1500 pixels. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to take the opacity of the color down a bit so we can read our text a little bit better. Just want a little something in the background there. There we go. I want it so we can see the actual background, but we can read the text absolutely fine too. And on the bottom, I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to do it in red. So here's the bottom. Again, I'm going to get the mountains. I'm going to make them red. Take that opacity all the way down again. Something like that. It's pretty subtle. And height wise, let's give it about 1500 or so. There we go. There's a bit of a gap in the middle. We could actually make that probably. And this one also, let's make the top one. There we go. So we've got a bit of a gap in the middle, but the rest of it's fine. So we've now got a privacy policy page. Let's publish. And we'll take a look. And here it is. Here's our privacy policy. I think that's perfectly legible. And that little background just gives it a little bit of interest value there. So there we go. There's our privacy policy page. I'm happy with that. Let's go ahead and add it to our menu. To do that, let's go to our dashboard. We'll go down to Appearance and Menus. And here's our privacy policy page under the most recent. If you don't see it, you can just hit the View All tab. But most recent, we'll give it right at the top there. And let's add it to the menu. And that's absolutely fine. Let's save our menu. Go back to the site. There is our privacy policy page. Fantastic. So we've now got a GDPR privacy policy on our site. Well, we've been putting together this little e-commerce store using the free Elementor plugin, and it's doing a great job of it. We're just using the free 2020 theme and the free Elementor version of the plugin. Last video we added a privacy policy page. Let's now add a contact form for our site, and we'll use another free plugin called Contact Form 7. So let's go to our dashboard. Let's go down to plugins. There it is right there. And we're going to add new. I'm going to hit the add new button at the top. Let's go to the little search and type in contact form 7. And there it is. There's our Contact Form 7 plugin. I'm going to hit the install now. Like I say, it's absolutely free. And let's go ahead and activate it. Great. Once activated, you'll see a contact button in your menu on the dashboard here. I'm going to go ahead and open that in a new tab. And by default, they've put a little contact form in for you. We'll start with this one. It's a great place to start. So I'm going to hit the edit button. Now that doesn't look like a whole lot, but it's actually everything you need. You've got a label that says your name, then you've got a text field. There's a text field right there to put your name in. You've got another label that says your email, and then you've got a field to put your email in, which is right there. Then we've got another label that says subject, and that's another text field right there that you can put the subject in. Then you've got another label that says your message and a text area. Now text area is right there, which is a large paragraph type area to put whatever your question is. If you want to add something else, like perhaps a telephone, we can go down to where we want it. Let's put it after email. Just go down and put your cursor where you actually want to put this thing, and you can add it by doing that. Now what I'm going to do, where it says class attribute, I'm just going to give this a class of form, FRM, because we'll be styling it in a minute with a bit of CSS, and don't let that worry you. I'll give you any code that I write here. And here you can also decide whether it's required or not. When I have a telephone number field, I don't usually require it because some people just don't like to put in their telephone number. So let's insert the tag when you're happy. And you can see it's got a class of form on the end. Now I'm going to copy this class because I want it to apply to all of our labels here. So I'm going to copy it. I'm going to put it after your name. And I'm going to put it after your email. And I'm going to put it after your subject. And also your message. So they've all got the same class there. So if I want to make one field a certain color, it'll affect all the fields as well. Great. So let's just save this and let's actually put it into a page. So now that's been saved, you've got a shortcode just up the top here. If you left click on it, it'll highlight it. Just simply copy it, Control C, or right click and copy. Now let's go up and let's create a new page. And funnily enough, we'll call this contact. And I want to build it with the Elementor. So I want to go over to our page attributes. If it's not open, just hit the little chevron there so it opens up. And we want to use the Elementor full width so we can use the full width of the screen. Now I'm going to hit the edit with Elementor button. And here it is, we've got our Elementor panel. First thing I want to do, we created a title for most of the pages on our site, a little header. So I'm going to put that in, and to do that I'm going to go to my file, because we saved it as a template, so it's in my templates. And that's it right there. I'm going to select it and insert it. If you're not sure, always hit no, import document settings, because you can export these and use them in different sites. And if you hit yes, it'll overwrite the styles of whatever site you're on. So for caution, hit no. For this particular case, it doesn't matter because it's come from the same site. And as you can see, that's put that header section and a little sales section in down below. We can get rid of that section, and let's just rename this to contact. or contact us, or whatever it is you'd like to say with your form. Okay, so now we need to put our actual form in. So let's go to our matrix up here. And what I'll use is a little text block. Just drop it in there. And I'm going to put my shortcode that we just copied in there. Control V to paste it in there. Now you might not see the form show up on the back end here, but it will on the front end. So let's just publish that. Let's take a look at the front end with a little eyeball icon just next to the update button. And there it is. There's our form. And it's sort of using the generic colors and generic styles. That's absolutely fine, actually. You've got your name, your email, you've got your telephone. I probably need to give that a label so people know it's for the telephone number, subject, and message. So let's just update our form a minute. We'll go back to our form. And where we put in our telephone number, which is right here, I just need to put in a label that says telephone. So I'm going to copy the label from below, put it on that, give it a bit of space, just to keep it organized there, and we'll say telephone. Now we'll save our changes. And go back to our contact form, and we don't need to do anything because it's pulling it from the same form, so it should just update it when we refresh. There we go, we've now got telephone in there and it's not required. Fantastic. Okay, well, you can leave your form like this if you want to, or you can style it a bit, so perhaps the button will hover, change color on hover, and perhaps our fields will have a different background color. Now to do that, I'm using Google Chrome here. If I just right click and inspect one, here it is. It's an input field and it's got the actual class of form, FRM. So I can write a background color for the FRM by simply going in here. And let's say EEE, which is a sort of light grey. And as you can see, that changes the background colour, which is a pretty standard form colour, and it's pretty good looking. Then I can go through and write this, and anything with, as long as I put it under FRM, it'll have that background colour. So that should cover all of our fields here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy that bit of code, because in the Chrome Inspector here, I'm just copying the background and the color. When we refresh, this is non-destructive, so it'll just go back to how it was. To make that permanent, I need to go in and write it into our theme customizer, custom CSS. So let's go back to our dashboard. We'll go down to appearance. We'll go to customize. Go down to additional CSS. And here's some we've already written for the WooCommerce, and I gave you this CSS before. What I'll do is I'll go down, I'll give it a title so it's easier to find. So it's // and in between is where you write your title. So I just write contact form. Now if I go down below and write the class name, which is FRM, because it's a class it has to have a period, FRM, then open and close some curly brackets, and then we'll paste in that bit of code that I just copied, which is background EEE. Now let's save our changes, publish, and we'll have a look at our form. We may have to force it, so let's go back to our form, which is right here. Now when I refresh, if that's worked, these should all turn that light grey color. Okay, and they haven't, which means I may need to force it. Only that one has. So let's go back to our customizer, and I'm going to put the word exclamation important after it and publish that. Now that's going to force it. I don't like to use that unless I have to, but it looks like we have to in this case. And now let's refresh. There we go. And now all our fields have taken on that color. So let's style our button for a bit of fun. So let's inspect and see what the class of the button is. And if we look over here, class WPCF7 submit is the actual class we want. So I'm going to double left click on that and copy that. And we'll change the background color of it. Let's have it red, but the brighter red, just the red we've been using up here. For the regular background color, the color's fine. I don't want that underline under the actual writing itself. And perhaps when we hover over it, let's make it blue. And let's make it take a second to change from red to blue. So let's go back to our customizer. I'm going to go down to class, that's submit, so it's period, then the class name, open and close some curly brackets, and in between, let's say background, just red. And again, we may have to add the important class. I need to spell red right, because that will not work if I don't do that. And let's copy this and say when we hover, we want it to turn blue. So I'm going to just paste that below, and after submit, the T on submit, no space, colon, then no space hover to set a hover state for it, and we'll change this to blue. Now like I said, we may have to force this, we'll see, we'll try it. If we don't have to use it, I don't want to put it in there. So let's publish. Go back to our form. We can get rid of that right now. Now, let's refresh, see if that turns bright red. No, it hasn't. It is actually turning blue, but that's the wrong red. It's slightly deeper, so we do need to use that important on there. So I'm just going to copy it from up here with the space, Control C, and put it after important right there. I want it to take a second to switch between the two colors. That way you get a nice little transition gradient. So I'm going to say transition 1s for second. You can use 0.5 seconds, you can use milliseconds if you want to, however you want to do it. Let's try that now and see if that'll work. There we go, that's that brighter red color now, and it should take a second to transform to blue when I hover over it. And it's not, so we need to add the import to that too. And we'll also say text decoration none, see if we can't get rid of that underline. None. And again, we may have to force that. Let's publish that. Refresh, and there we go. Okay, the transition's not working very well, and we still got that little underline there. There we go. See, it's taking about a second now, and you get a little gradient color in between, which I think is quite nice. And that little underline that's under the send is gone too. If you want to change the send to say something like submit, just write it in the submit right here, or where it says submit, and then between the two inverted commas there, just write in whatever you want the button to say. Now, of course, by default, it's going to send the form to the admin email address. If you want to change that, we'll go in here and you can put in whatever email address you want. And the next one, messages, this is what it's going to say. Thank you, message has been sent if it's sent successfully. With failures, you've got various error messages here that'll pop up if you haven't filled it out correctly. You can change these to say anything you want. Don't have any additional settings at the moment. Everything should work as it should. And I've got a little error flag right there. It's because when I put this label in here of telephone, I didn't close out the label tag. So let's take a closing label tag right there and just put it on the end there. That should fix that. Save this. There we go, our error message is gone. Go back to our contact form. And we're good to go. That now says submit. It's doing everything we want. Of course, you can add more fields. You can make this more elaborate. And might decide to add some products below it, in case your customers would like to do some more shopping. So there we are. There's how to add a contact page using the fantastic Contact Form 7. Well, in our last video, we put together this little contact form here using Contact Form 7. And I thought it'd be a nice idea, if you wanted to put a full width Google map on the bottom of your site. Now, this is an e-commerce store, so I guess some people wouldn't want to do that. But if you do, it's really easy to do. Let's go over to Google. I'm simply going to type in maps. Click on Google Maps. Now I don't have an address, so I'm going to put in the White House, just for an example. And there we have it. Now you can scroll out to where you kind of want your map to be. I think we'll do something like that. Now, to insert this map as full width, I want to hit the share button. I want to say embed a map. And they've got the code for us right here. It's an iframe. So we'll copy the HTML. Just hit that, it'll copy it all for you. Now we've got the code, we can go back to our site. Let's edit this page with Elementor. Just hit the button. I've got mine open already here. So let's go down and let's put a new section in right here. So I'm going to hit the plus, I'm going to hit a single column, single section. We've got a new section right here. I want the content to be full width. And inside it, let's go back to our matrix. I'm going to use a code module. We've been putting this site together with the free Elementor, so we'll continue to do that today. So we'll skip past the pro modules and go down to some more general modules, and somewhere down here we've got a code module, an HTML module. So I'm going to left click and drag it, just drop it where I want it, which is right there. And inside I'm going to paste my map code. And there it is. Simple as that. We've now got a full width map on our site. Now I don't particularly want any gap on the top and the bottom. So we'll go to our section, we'll go to advanced, and padding, I want to make sure there's no padding anywhere, so I'm going to put a 0 in there. If you've got that link checked, it'll do all 4 of them at once, top, right, bottom and left. There we go. There still seems to be a little bit there, and I think that's in the row itself, which is this dark icon right here. So if we left click on that, now we're in the column. Again, we'll go to advanced, do the same thing, make sure there's no padding. And that's it, that buffered it up against the top and the bottom. So let's save our changes, update the page there. Now when we're happy, we can hit the little preview icon and preview the site. And if we go down, we've now got a full width Google map on our site. And if you only want it a specific height, you can change the code quite easily. and you can use Control and scroll to zoom in and zoom out, so it really is a live map. You can get directions. So let's go back. So let's go back into our module and we'll take a look at the code. We've actually got a width here, if I just highlight that, of 600 and a height of 450. So I'm going to change the width to 100%. So that's going to make sure it stretches to the whole width of whatever screen we're looking at. Let's change the height to 400. 400. And now let's update and have a look at our changes. Let it reload there. And there we go. We've now got a full width section that's 400 high and full width, whatever device you're looking at it on. And again, hit the control and it's fully scrollable. So there's how to add a full width Google map to your Elementor site. Well, today we've been putting together this little Elementor WooCommerce site here, online store, using the free version of Elementor. We're almost through with it now. What I'd like to do is just add a section on the bottom here, and we'll create a category for it, reduced, and we'll have all our reduced computers down there. So the first thing we want to do is create that category. So let's go to our dashboard and down to our products. Our products are right here. Down below products, you'll see categories. Or if you've got product highlighted, it may be in a drop down here. So let's go to our categories. And I'm creating a new category, add new category, and I'm calling it reduced. And for the slug, we'll say reduced also. We don't need a parent category or a description. It's pretty self-explanatory right there. So let's add this new category. As you can see, it's got it at the top there. If you want to, you can add an image and all kinds of stuff, but we really don't need to for what we're doing at this moment. So now let's go back to our products. So I'll go to all products. And we can use the quick edit feature to add whatever products we want to our reduced category. So let's quick edit. This book can be in there. Just check the category. There's reduced. Update that one. What else? That one's on sale, so we'll put them in here again. Reduced. I'm simply going to go down this list till I've got about 8 of them, because that's how many I want to display. Just save that. And I'll pause this video because I'm doing exactly the same thing for each one, just going into the quick edit and doing it. Okay, so I've just added the last one there. I'm going to update. Now let's go back to our front page so we can add this reduced category to the bottom. What I'd like to do is I'm going to steal this title and reuse it down the bottom there. So I'm going to hit edit with Elementor. I'm going to roll down. There's the title I want to steal right there. So I'm going to copy the module itself. And we're going to go down. And I'm going to paste it in there. There we go. We got our title. I'm going to leave it just like that, but I'm going to call it reduced. Reduced for sale. How's that? Now what we need to do is actually add the category itself. So let's go back to our matrix, and you can use a code block or a text editor block. I'm going to use the text editor. I'm going to plonk it down underneath my title there. And inside here, I've got to put my category. So a category shortcode. If you're not sure about WooCommerce shortcodes, have a look at our WooCommerce shortcodes video. It'll be in the playlist below this video. So we're going to put our shortcode in some square brackets. And I'm going to say product category, product underscore category Then I've got to tell it what category I want. And the category that we created was reduced. So I'm going to say category equals, open two sets of inverted commas, and in between is where I want to put my reduced category. Now, as is the case, sometimes these will pop up in the back end here, sometimes they won't. But like I say, they always pop up on the front end. So let's go check out what it is. Let's save our changes and check it out on the front end. There we go. There's those little 8 computers I added to the reduce. So that's how to organize your categories and quickly add another product category to your page there. Now, just to discern it a little bit from our bottom bar there, I think I'll put a gradient in there just on the bottom. Or we could use dividers. Let's go back. We'll go to our section. I think I'll put a little blue gradient in there. So here's the section. We want to go to style, background type. I'm going to use gradient. Puts nothing in the top, but it puts something in the bottom there. I'm going to put white in the top, and as you can see, it's put something in there. And I'm going to put blue in the bottom. Now that's a little more than I'd like, so I'm going to move this until the white goes down to kind of where we want it, which is probably somewhere about there. About halfway down sort of thing. So now we've got a nice white top and we've got that little blue faded background there. Bottom section right there. So there we have it. We've added our reduce for sale section to our site. Let's update. And I think we can call this site done. I think we'll do one more video. We'll just organize our menu a bit up the top here. There, the last section. And what we'll do a very quick video and finish this off. We'll organize this. We'll perhaps have some brands and the computers. We might want to stack those on top of each other. And we've actually got to add our contact page. Well, we've been putting together this little e-commerce store selling computers using the free 2020 theme and the free Elementor plugin. And we're about done with it now. Last thing I really want to do is organize our menu. We've got several different pages, but we've got a contact page that we created that's not up here yet. And I think our shop page is going to the generic WooCommerce shop yet. We actually created a page called text shop, but we want that link to take people to. Just check our other links right here, all in ones. That's fine. Desktops, that's fine. Laptops, good. My account, that's a generic one. The cart, I don't know if I've got anything in the cart. There's our cart page. Privacy policy page. That's absolutely fine. So I want to add my contact page and got to take care of this shop page. So let's go to our dashboard. I'm going to go to pages. Now the page I actually want for my shop page is text shop right here. Let's view it, make sure it's the right one, rather than the generic one that they've got here. It's the same, they've got the same products in it, but it hasn't got our nice header on it. So let's do that. And to do that, let's go down to our menu. So it's appearance and menu. Appearance, menus. There's our text shop page. If you can't find the page you're looking for, always check the view all. So I want to add text shop, add to menu. I'm going to delete the original shop, remove. I'm simply going to left click and drag this to the top. But I don't want it to say text shop, I just want it to say shop. we go, that should work fine. And we also want to add our Contact Us page. There it is, Contact. There we go. Let's put the contact after the cart, and let's put the privacy policy as a sub item of it, so it's a drop down, so we haven't got too many on the main menu itself. To make something a sub item, you just click on it, literally pull it to the right until it sticks there, and as you can see it says sub item. I better put that back where it was. There we go. Now I can put the desktops, laptops and all in one under one section and just say computers by using a custom link. So let's go to custom links. Now custom link has to have something in the URL initially, so I'll just put a hashtag in there, and I'm going to say this computers, and I'm going to add it to the menu. Now I don't actually want this to link to anything, so let's put it where we want it, right about there. And we'll make these sub items of computer, and again I'm left clicking and just dragging them slightly to the right and releasing. There we go. So these will now be a drop down under the laptop section there. And let's save our changes. Now let's go back to our page when they're saved. Main has been updated. Let's go back home. And there's our new menus with a drop down for our computers, all-in-ones, desktop, laptops, and our contact with our privacy policy just under there. So there we go. We've completed this whole site now just using the Elementor free. Check a couple of these pages. Great, there's one more thing I want to do. The shop page, I'm going to copy that link address. We changed from our generic WooCommerce type shop to our custom one here with our regular page title on it. So let's go to WooCommerce and just make sure it knows that. So we'll go to WooCommerce. And we'll go down to settings, and we want to go to products, and where the shop page is we want to choose the page that it's going to go to, because after the checkout it'll ask you if you want to continue shopping and it'll send you to the generic shop page. I want to use my text shop, which is right there. So we should be good to go. Nothing else I want to change here. Save our changes. And that's it. So I hope you've enjoyed that and found it useful. If you have, please ring the bell, give it a thumbs up, comment, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.